Welcome to another episode of Anandamaya Talks. Sai Ram, everyone. Today, as we celebrate another amazing auspicious day, Avatarhood Declaration Day, we will be sharing about some interesting plots from the Sathya Sai Kada. I am Vinasha, and along with me, I have another two amazing speakers, Lakshan and Kritika, who will be joining in for today's podcast, who will be sharing some amazing plots from the story itself. So, without further ado, let me pass this over to Kritika, who is the first speaker.
Hi, everyone. So this whole incident actually began when Ishwarama went to a well to collect water, and suddenly she saw this big blue ball of light, and it came towards her. It started rolling, and it hit her right in her womb, and then she fell unconscious, and she just fainted there. But after some time, she regained consciousness, and she went back home, and she found out that she was actually pregnant. And since she found out that she was conceiving, a lot of weird incidents like the instruments in her house, such as the harmonium and the drums, they started playing on its own. And um, from that day onwards, until the day Swami was born on 23rd November, these kind of weird incidents kept on happening.
Now, even after Swami was born, there were many strange incidents started to happen. One such incident was when they found a cobra lying underneath Swami on top of the cloth that he was placed on. Now, of course, the women around him were scared, but what they did not realize that the snake was none other than Adi Sesha, who had come to cradle Swami like how he usually does back in Vaikuntham.
So another funny incident that happened in Swami's school is that he was composing bhajans while he was in class, and his teacher saw that and got really angry that he wasn't paying attention. So what happened? Swami's teacher actually questioned him, asked him a bunch of questions, and Swami could actually answer everything without thinking much, and he answered everything correctly. But Swami's teacher was still not satisfied and made Swami stand on the bench as a punishment. And once the class was over, the teacher actually found that he was stuck to the chair and he couldn't get up from the chair to get out of the class. And when the other teacher came in and saw this, he mentioned that Swami is actually the divine avatar and it's all his doing. So the other teacher was forced to ask Swami to get down from the bench, and that's when the teacher got unstuck from the chair. And Swami also said that he didn't do this to embarrass his teacher, but he just needed the teacher to understand and realize who he truly was.
Now, another thing that Swami used to do was, as a kid, he used to give a lot of food and clothes to other beggars because he felt that they needed it more than he and his family did. But it came to a point when Ishwarama stopped him while he was giving food and clothes to the beggars, and he told Swami, Sathya, if you were to keep giving more food and clothes to beggars, there will come to a point where we won't have enough for ourselves. And Swami said that they need it more than we do. And there was one incident when Swami gave his entire meal to a beggar. And although Ishwarama knew this, she went to him and asked, Swami, where was the food that you gave to the beggar? Didn't you eat any? And Swami showed that his stomach was already full and even gave his hand to Ishwarama as proof that he had already eaten. And it showed, and Swami's mother smelled ghee, sweets, and other food that had already been served for that lunch.
So another beautiful incident which happened was Karanam and his wife Shubhama were the first ones in the village of Puttaparthi. They started Pandari Bhajans. It is done to worship Lord Vittala and his consort Rukmini. They then presented this idea to Swami, little Swami himself, who then volunteered to teach bhajans along with a cloth vendor called Venkataya, who also knew a lot of bhajans. Then the group had about 15 to 20 boys with the same costumes, with the same shirts and little wood clams, sticks, harmonium, drums, and everything they needed for their little band. Then little Sathya also introduced songs of his own, enacting stories of Lord Krishna, as well as which the villagers could witness before their eyes.
another incident happened during Shivaratri when Swami came home after performing his Abhishekam and prayers at the Shivan temple, and his sister Venkama Raju offered him food to eat. And after having his food, he went to have a bath, and suddenly his sister heard him scream like a really loud shout, and she went to see what happened. And Swami told his sister that a scorpion bit him, and she got really panicked. But after that, Swami was still okay, and he went to the groceries to continue to buy stuff. And when he came back and he was given food again, his sister came and saw him, and the food was not touched at all. And when she checked him to see if he's okay, he fell down with a thud. And he became unconscious, so they all panicked and they called the doctor. And even after giving injections and medications, Swami still didn't gain consciousness. But after some time, he gained consciousness himself, and he said that the coconut has broken into three, and his family and many people went to the temple and saw that exactly what he said has happened. And he also he started reciting poems and literacy and all the Vedic scriptures and everything like randomly since that day.
Swami's behavior started to get even worse and even weirder, as his family mentioned. And it got to the point when they started to take him to many exorcists. And one such exorcist, who was a Shakti worshipper, did many things and many torturous methods to Swami to attempt to get this so-called evil spirit out of Swami. But none of the methods worked. It got to the point when Ishwarama pulled him out and took him back home, as she could not bear to see Swami go through so much torture, and she felt that Swami was going through so much pain.
So, one of Sathya's uncle, he used to read the biography of Shirdi Sai aloud many times. Then, whenever he was reading, Sathya used to correct him, including the page numbers. This is the mistake, this is this, and using the stanza or the line and everything. So, a man who came all the way from Penukonda, he decided to test Sathya, saying that if you are Sathya Sai, prove it to me or give me a hint. So Sathya asked his mother to get flowers, and he flung them on the floor. Then the flowers arranged themselves to the form in Telugu words saying, I am Sai Baba. Then Kesavaya became a devotee of Sathya from that day onwards till the end. So thank you for watching today's episode of Anandamaya Talks.
We hope you have enjoyed this video.
And we're really sorry if we have mentioned anything inappropriate or something to hurt you unintentionally.
Thank you.
Thank you,
and
and
Jai
Jai
Sai
Sai
Ram.
Ram.